Sharing the energy of God. Mention that now.
Good morning and welcome to the Columbus Center for Spiritual Living. I am Reverend Erin Marie Savansky. I'm really glad to have you all here today. We strive to be an inclusive organization that supports everybody on their spiritual journeys, wherever you happen to be today. If you are feeling that energy moving through you as you in the world, we are here with you. And if you're at a place of a lot of questions and searching and trying to sort it all out, we're here with you. And if you just can't even find the words to pray today, we're here with you. We are here to support you wherever you are. I'd like to say hello to our viewers who are on Facebook with us today, and if you don't mind sharing the stream so others can pop in and join us too, that would be wonderful. And also, our service today is being recorded, and it will be uploaded to our YouTube channel, Columbus CSL. You're welcome to go back and view any of our past services there as well. So thank you for being here with us today. I invite you to join me in reading our mission statement together. We serve the transformation of individual lives through education, spiritual practice, and deep community, using spirit and science of mind principles as our compass. Thank you. And I'd like to introduce our practitioner for this morning, Kristen Wilcock, who's going to lead us in a 10-minute meditation, bring us out into prayer, and some more music. Thank you.
Good morning. My name is Kristen Wilcock, and it is my honor to lead you in meditation this morning. Please take a moment and get comfortable. And start to feel that divine presence, that sweet, peaceful stillness within. Roll your shoulders back and down, creating a little space in your body, and creating a sense of receptive, open connection. Feel the positive energy flowing all around you, a nice deep breath. Inhale, creating space in your body and opening to spirit. Exhale, relaxing and feeling a sense of peace and stillness. Take a couple more slow, deep breaths, creating space and openness as you inhale, and feeling a sense of relaxation and peace as you exhale. Today we are talking about the wise warrior. This is a subject that is very near and dear to my heart. I am a graduate of Virabhava Yoga, and I would like to share the meaning of Virabhava with you. Vira is a word in Sanskrit that means warrior or hero. The Vira is perpetually tenacious, persistent, and has vigilant conviction. Belief is for believers, while conviction springs forth from the unbreakable will which accepts neither defeat nor compromise. Bhava is a word that means the essence of a thing, its core temperament, disposition, and character. Virabhava is the path of the warrior, unapologetically. It is a path for those who are ready to fight, to lead, to inspire, to be determined to see a better way, to refuse to give up or give in to divisiveness, ignorance, or oppression, to fight the good fight. So how does this apply to our teaching? Science of Mind teaches us that the fight is not out there. It is in here. The battle is in remembering that our power and strength is greater than any obstacle that we perceive. The wise warrior takes a step back and looks past the appearance of things and sees the core reality, the reality of the divine, the reality of the whole. We each have this wise warrior spirit within us. We are here for battle, to rise in support of the whole. The principles of Science of Mind are our sword, and spiritual practices are our training. By tapping into that divine warrior presence within, we find strength in troubled times, courage in the darkness, and power in the overwhelm. This morning I invite you to take a few minutes and contemplate the wise warrior spirit within you. Are there places in your life where you can be more courageous, more determined, more persistent? And at the same time, is there space in your life where you can be more open, more flexible, more adaptable, relaxed, and resilient? As we move into a few minutes of contemplation, be mindful of those two opposites. Your warrior spirit, strong, persistent, and determined, and also balanced, adaptable, and resilient. Start to bring your awareness back to your breath. Inhale, feeling that strength, courage, and determination. Draw that in. Exhale, relaxing, softening, feeling adaptable, flexible, and resilient. Take another breath in and out. Again, acknowledging and honoring your warrior spirit. Feeling grounded, feeling centered, and feeling grateful. The wise warrior spirit is about finding your own experience, your own harmony, and your own resilience. It is about listening to your own voice, defining and respecting your boundaries, and above all, honoring your individual journey towards inner wisdom. As we continue to reflect on this balance and strength, persistence and determination, and adaptability and balance, I invite you to re-enter the room and slowly become aware of your surroundings again. And when you are ready, gently open your eyes. Namaste. Now, please join me in prayer. As we continue to tap into that warrior spirit within, I am conscious of the divine presence that is strength and balance, persistence and adaptability, determination and resilience. It is both changeless and ever-changing. It is both deeply known and yet unknowable. It is the endless energy that lives its life in all of its creation. Because all of creation is included in the divine presence, I know that I am included. I am one with this presence. It is the origin of my strength and my courage, of my balance and my resilience. It is both the creator of my path and it is my path. I affirm that I embody the essence of the wise warrior. I stand in power, strength, adaptability, and determination as I embrace my path and courageously pursue a fully authentic life. I turn my attention to that which is alive in me, to the creative power moving through me. I live in alignment with the spiritual truth of this divine presence expressing as me. I allow myself to be supported by this strength and power. I give thanks to this realization of the divine presence within me and all around me. I release my word to the law that always makes it so, and so it is.
Down in my soul, I hear the music.
it? Thank you for that beautiful meditation too, Kristen. That was a perfect lead-in today. So our topic today is the wise warrior, and that fits within the monthly theme. Oh, it disappeared off of my paper. The monthly theme, do you remember what it was?
Speaking truth to circumstances.
Speaking truth to circumstances. Thank you. Sometimes it takes a team effort, right? Speaking truth to circumstances. Oh, so it is easy sometimes to kind of look around the world, look around our circumstances, our communities, and see everything that seems to not be working well, everything that's not going right. All the disarray, the pain, the suffering, the brokenness. There's a lot of it, right? I started making a whole list on my notes here, and we probably could take a lot of time going through them, but we've got things in politics, we've got big pharma, we've got poverty, we've got systemic racism, we've got the housing market, inflation, food waste, climate crisis, healthcare, education, retirement planning. What really is pro-life, right? Is it only at the time of conception, or do we need to be pro-life all life? Misogyny. I mean, gosh, there's more, right? There's a lot more. There's all kinds of things we can look around and see. Wow, this isn't working well. This isn't the ideal. This isn't equity for everybody. This isn't justice for everybody. This isn't an environment of love and healing and growth and support. We really don't have to look far to see those things that are really troublesome deep down in my soul, right? And it can be overwhelming. It can really, if we spend time allowing ourselves to really think about those problems and those injustices and even the ways that they impact ourselves and our lives and our communities, it can lead us to despair. It can lead us to feeling hopeless. We might feel like there's nothing we can do to change it, and that any efforts we make, even when we mobilize together, might still be too little, too late. We can feel fear and depression and anxiety and anger, and all of those are okay feelings. It's okay to feel those things, especially in response to these troubles in our world and our society. We can also get caught up in arguments, though, about them, right? We can get caught up in fighting and bickering, and my way is the right way, your way is the wrong way. We can try to just hide from it all, and close our eyes and our ears and our hearts to it as much as possible. No, I don't see it, I don't hear it. And it's not there, which really doesn't do anything hopeful either. I know I've gone through periods of my life where I've tried to just avoid the news. Just like, don't want to see it, don't want to hear it. I can't take any more of all the stories, because so much of them feel like they're about destruction and separation and suffering in one way or another. And it's like now the special segment of the news is where they finally tell you a good positive story, and the rest of it is suffering. Yesterday, out of curiosity, I Googled what the headlines were, the top news headlines for yesterday evening. The Russian forces were pushing forward in Ukraine. Wildfires burning in Greece and Canada. Mental health crisis in rural America. Fake reviews of online products, leading people astray. Let's see, there was artificial intelligence threatening our society and our safety. The CDC preparing for a triple pandemic this fall of RSV, the flu, and COVID-19. North Korea firing cruise missiles into the sea. And there were lots more, and so many about murders and death and children suffering. So much. What do all these headlines have in common? Fear, bad news, yeah. Brokenness, separation. So what do we do? What do we do with this? What do we do when we live in a world, in a society, surrounded by media that is very happy to feed us the stories about everything that is seemingly wrong? It can be tempting, like I said, to kind of hide from it and ignore it, turn the news off, don't read the paper, if anyone still gets a paper anymore, don't scroll through the Google headlines, right? We can also find ourselves kind of getting caught up in the stories at the same time, though. I don't know about you, but when the submersible got lost on its way to find the Titanic, it was like the talk of every community I was part of for that whole week, you know. What happened to them? Are they suffering? Are they fighting? Did whatever happen? Are they lost? You know, was there a conspiracy and they went somewhere else? Like so many things. And what did that serve? What purpose did getting caught up in all the stories and the drama and the suspicions and what did that serve? Did it help the people on the submarine in any way? The submersible? No. Did it help the people searching for them? Did it help ourselves in any way to get caught up in the story and the drama around it? It didn't help me. There were times I might have felt myself a little bit like almost excited about it because it was so unusual and so curious and I was very interested, but also like in a very guilty feeling kind of way, right? Because those are human lives, right? And here we are bantering with kind of nonchalance about what happened to them and their human lives. We might choose in some circumstances to speak up, you know, whether it's something as banal in a sense as the submersible and say, look, I'm not comfortable kind of joking around about this. We might choose to speak up in more kind of, I don't want to say dramatic, but more profound ways, like being part of a protest, being part of a march, going out and getting people to sign petitions, you know, that sort of thing. Acting out in a sense. The really important thing, no matter how we choose to respond though, is to really be aware of where we ourselves are coming from so that we aren't perpetuating or exacerbating these problems from a whole other angle. I know when I was probably in my 20s, my young 20s, I was very, very passionate about wanting to do social justice work. That's what I wanted to do. I wanted to get out of college. I wanted to get hired into some sort of social justice organization that worked for equity and sustainability and human rights and all that kind of stuff. And the trouble I found for myself was I didn't want to take my cause and beat other people up with it. And unfortunately, there are plenty of social justice organizations that will do that. You know, that my cause, my concern is a weapon I can use. You know, and I want to create change, but the way I want to create change might be through a different type of oppression, or a different type of criticism or injustice. And that's really tricky. It's really tricky. The way of the wise warrior, Kristen already kind of set up for us, which was perfect. How does the wise warrior face these things? How does the wise warrior meet these struggles and these challenges? Because they're real. They're absolutely real. They impact our lives. They impact our communities. Even if we want to pretend they're not there, they are there. And we, as wise warriors, need to engage that somehow. We need to engage somehow. The word warrior, on one aspect of the definition is one who goes to war, one who literally fights, right? But a warrior is also someone who engages in struggle or conflict, who doesn't just walk away, who doesn't just say, not my problem, you guys sort it out, but who chooses to engage in the struggle, in the conflict. And it's the way that we choose to engage it that makes us the wise warrior or makes us part of the problem. There's a really neat story that I've seen kind of attributed to some different traditions. I'm going to call it the Taoist farmer story because that's how I most often saw it referenced. And it's a brief story, but it fits really nicely into this kind of lesson for today about the wise warrior. So there was a farmer working out in the fields, and one day his horse ran away. It got out the gate, ran away, and left. And the townspeople came up to the farmer, and they were like, oh man, I'm so sorry that you lost your horse like that. I know that's a struggle. What terrible luck. I mean, that's really bad misfortune. Sorry for you. And the farmer said, maybe it is, maybe it's not, I don't know. And then the next day, the horse came back. But it came back with a herd of wild horses that it brought with it. And then the townspeople came to the farmer and they said, wow, this is amazing. What great fortune you have. I mean, you went from having no horses to now having this whole herd of horses. What a blessing. What great fortune. And then the farmer said, well, maybe. Maybe it is. Maybe it isn't. I don't know. So the son was working with the horses, trying to tame them. They were wild horses, right? In order to use them on the ranch, they needed to be tamed. And so as the son was working with one of the horses, the horse threw him off, and the son broke his leg. And again, the townspeople come, oh, geez, I'm so sorry. Wow, a terrible, terrible luck. I mean, just bad misfortune. Now you've got all these horses. You can't do anything with them. Your farm, you're not going to have enough help to get it tended to with your son having his broken leg. Geez, what bad fortune. And the farmer, I'm sure you can guess the line now, right? Maybe it is, maybe it isn't. I don't know. And then the army came through, recruiting the young men of the town to go to war. And they skipped over the farmer and his son because the son had a broken leg. And again, the townspeople, oh my, such good fortune you have. Your son was not drafted to the war. What a blessing. Maybe it is, maybe it isn't. I don't know. And that's how the story ends. But I think we could also still see it kind of unfolding more and more. You know, our lives are like that every day. There's so many things that are beyond our control, so many circumstances that impact our lives that we can get kind of tangled up in and say, oh, this is good or this is bad. This is right or this is wrong. This is blessing or it's a curse. But is it? Or is it circumstances of our lives? And that what really matters isn't the circumstance itself, but how we approach it, how we address it. So from this story, there's all kinds of wonderful lessons that we could kind of spend weeks unpacking, honestly. But, not jumping to conclusions about things. Is it a blessing? Is it just how it is? And how I look at it is really what makes all the difference. Are things good and bad? Are our experiences inherently good and bad? Right and wrong? Is there a big dichotomy like that? Can we accept what the present moment has for us? Just accept it as it is and make the best of it with what we have. Come at it from an attitude of, this is the moment I have. Another version of this story is kind of similar, and the farmer says, so this is my challenge. So this is my challenge. Not getting caught up in, this is such a terrible thing. I can't believe this happened. Why did God do this to me? How did I deserve this? But, so this is my challenge. What am I going to do with it? How am I going to show up here? What am I going to bring to the table of this challenge? And how is that going to change things? And that God, Spirit, is equally present in all circumstances, in all moments of our life. It's not that God is doling out blessings here and curses there, punishment here and goodwill there. We're not tallying up tickets to heaven or tickets to hell, right? It's simply the moment. It's the circumstance. The circumstance is a compilation of all kinds of crazy, thousands of choices that people have made in any given moment, and how they all align and how they all build up, and the energy we create together, and the consciousness we create together, and the beliefs we create together in families, in communities, in societies, and in our world, and how that all builds into the experiences that we have day in and day out. The idea that things are not good or bad or right or wrong, that all of life is God's presence and consciousness expressing, these are really radical ideas in our world. Because in this world, in this culture, what we hear all the time is dichotomy. We hear separation. We hear good and bad. We hear us and them. And it's not like, here's the good qualities of this group, and here's the good qualities of this group, and here's the good qualities of this group, right? It's how is this group better than this other group? How is this group right compared to that group wrong? It's opposition and separation. It's breaking down bonds and relationships instead of building up community and wholeness and togetherness. The wise warrior is able to see what is true, with a capital T, true, in the struggle and in the conflict, rather than getting caught up in the drama, caught up in fighting, caught up in the words and the actions and the thoughts that create more division and more separation and feed into that brokenness that we experience. The wise warrior knows what is true. We humans, we are just living in a world of illusion in a lot of ways. In a world that believes that one person is better than another, one race, one culture, one creed is better or more right or more good than another. We believe somehow that we can use creation to our own ends with no consequence. Right? That creation can just magically do all these wonderful things for us that we use it for and draw from it with no consequence. That humans are better than the rest of creation. Have you seen the drawings in the old science textbooks that have the human person at the top of this pyramid of creation? We're the best of it all. We believe that money is bad, or that power is bad, or that money and power together are really corrupt, that aging is bad. All of these kind of dichotomies again, good and bad. We talk about having wars against poverty. We don't need to be warring against poverty. We need to be looking at the causes of poverty and how we address that. how do we lift and heal and pull communities together out of poverty. I work at the James Cancer Hospital. There's a lot of talk about fighting cancer, doing the battle. And so many people actually struggle with that because it's like telling people to fight against their own body in some ways, right? To have a battle happening within their very selves and beings. When we can be talking about healing into wholeness and honoring all the wonderful, amazing, absolutely amazing things our bodies do for us moment by moment, and putting our focus there. So the wise warrior sees through these illusions, sees through these false ideas that we set up in our society, in our culture, in our community about good and bad and right and wrong and fighting, and grounds in truth. So what are these truths that the warrior grounds in? What are these truths that are the conviction that Kristen spoke of? In our teaching, we have just core principles that for us are the capital T truth. They are kind of the unbreakable absolutes. And for the last couple of weeks, we've actually kind of touched on them. And I don't think it hurts to just touch on them again, because our themes for these last few weeks have really been about coming into that grounding centeredness. And sometimes we need to remember and remind ourselves, what are the things that help us ground and center? What are the things that help us approach these difficult circumstances of our lives from a place of absolute grounding and a place of real conviction? So we believe that there is one God. There's no division. There's no separation. We believe that everything is spirit, that all is an expression of the divine. We can't trash creation, because creation is an expression of spirit. We believe in immortality, and that this life, this world is not all that there is. We believe in our personal freedom, that we have the power to choose in every moment how we show up in the world. The choices we make influence the world and influence ourselves. We believe in the unity of all life. There is no us and them. We are one, in spirit, in God. And we believe that spirit is intimately in relationship with us, revealing divine wisdom to us. We don't need a mediator. We don't need a book. We don't need a song. We don't need a certain anything or anyone. But that spirit is intimately present to each of us through and as everything, just constantly there for us to reveal wisdom. And that we can work with spirit to create our lives, to create what we seek, what we yearn for, to create our perfect beingness in the world as a divine expression, and together to create something that's absolutely magnificent. And we believe in the goodness of God, absolute goodness, and love, and peace, and beauty, and all of that. These are our truths. These are our principles. And when we approach the world and its challenges and our relationships from a grounding in these truths, that is very powerful. It is it is able to heal and able to bring to unity that which is broken when we come from a place of these truths. Now, a real simple example, because I know we've talked about a lot of like the big things of the world, right? But a simple example from this morning. I was sitting outside with my wife. We were talking about the lawnmower, and if the lawnmower was covered or not for the dew in the morning. Random conversation, I know. But I felt myself wanting to argue a little bit, because I had covered that lawnmower after I did a strip of yard that had been missed. My wife was insisting she had covered the lawnmower, which she had, but it was before I had covered it to redo the strip that had been cut. And so, silly example, I know, but we have instances that come up in our lives all the time where we can kind of get caught in a bickering, I'm right, I covered it last, I predicted it from the dew, I know you did it, but you missed a spot, and so I went back and took care of it, and I did, right? There was a part of me that wanted to do that. And then the other part of me, knowing, like, I've been sitting with this topic for the last week and thinking about it a lot, and there was a part of me that said to myself, you know what? What good does that do, right? Except create division between us and friction between us. And what the heck does it matter that I put the cover on after she did? Like, what does it matter? No. So I can choose to be right. You know, I can choose to have this argument and be right now. But what does that do except create tension, right? And instead, I can choose to keep my mouth shut right now. I know I covered it, right? And if I hadn't, does it still really matter? No, not really. But I can choose to just be quiet and know that, yes, she had also covered it, and love her for it, and be grateful for our relationship in a quiet morning, sipping our tea on the patio, right? Now, that comes from the place of principle, too. You know, it doesn't seem like a huge dramatic example, but it comes from that understanding of oneness. And it comes from the understanding that we have the power to choose in every moment how we express ourselves in the world and how we engage our relationships in the world. And if we do that from a place of love and a place that seeks unity, or if we do that from a place that creates division. Last week we talked about the idea that the word evil is the word live backwards, and that when we don't believe in evil as a concept, right? Because we don't believe that there's anything separate from God and spirit. But the idea of evil as living backwards, as using this gift we have to be active participants in our life and how it's created in our circumstances. That if I'd have chosen to fight with my wife about who covered the lawnmower, I would have been living backwards. I would have been creating division and tension and stress. Living backwards. It's the same idea. How do we stand in truth, in principle, even in the small things? And as we practice it inwardly, even with the small things, it gets easier to do with the bigger things too. Einstein said we can't solve a problem at the level of consciousness that created it. So if we continue kind of standing in the same energy and bickering in the same ways and showing up in the same ways as the things that created the problem, we're not going to be able to solve the problem. I was thinking a little bit too about kids on the playground schoolyard, when they start bickering and fighting. It's usually, well, you're a loser, well, you're a dummy, well, you're 4 eyes, well, you're whatever. And what happens with that? They either kind of get so worked up and it just kind of fizzles out and they go their own way, or one kid just kind of gives up and goes away, usually. That's how it happens. And nothing really gets resolved or any better. And we do this still as adults, just kind of in a more complicated, passive-aggressive kind of way. But we'll round people up to, be on our side. You're my team, and we're against this person, and they do that wrong, and they did this wrong. And it's really not any better or different than the kids who fight on the schoolyard. And what we have to do is raise ourselves up out of that, right? Pull ourselves up out of that energy that just gets caught in itself and mired in itself and the back and forth. We can't solve anything there. We can't heal anything there. We have to get grounded in our truth, in our conviction, and show up in a whole different way if we want to experience something different, if we want to have some healing. I didn't realize I was going to talk for so long. Sorry, I'm going to cut some stuff out here. So essentially, I'll try to just sum things up here. Aman Motwane wrote a book called Yes, You Can Change the World. I haven't read the whole book myself, but there's a quote from it that says, "Love and compassion, the way we traditionally think about them, will not change the world." Love isn't something you can think about, and it isn't something you do. It's who you are. It's who you are. And we absolutely believe that in our teaching here. That we express as love in the world. And that's how we change it. Not by talking about it, not by doing something that's loving, but by being love, by being that expression in the world. And when we do that, when we live love, when we live peace, when we live kindness, when we live compassion, when we live unity, that's how we bring healing in our own lives and in the lives of our families and our communities and truly in the whole world. We can't just talk about it. We can go to our spiritual practices, we can get grounded in our principles, and when we show up as love, as God in the world, that's where we bring healing. That's how we are healing in the world. So join me in a prayer. There is only one God, one truth, one love. That one is the one from whom all things flow, all of creation, all that is seen and unseen, the mysteries of the universe. All flow from that one. And I know that each human, just as each animal and each sea creature and each plant and each star and every Santa brand are an expression of the divine. And I claim for myself, as for every person here, knowing that I am a divine expression, part of that sacred flow in the universe. And I have the gift in this moment, in every moment, to choose how I show up. To show up as that love that created me. To show up as that love that sustains me. And to show up as that love that is the healing power of all creation. I choose to stand in this love with conviction as the wise warrior who knows not to separate things into good and bad and right and wrong and black and white, but to know, this is my moment, this is my challenge, and I stand in my truth. I stand as love, and I bring healing in the world. I give great thanks for this, knowing that it is an incredible blessing to have this opportunity and experience of human beingness. It is a blessing to be loved. And from this place of gratitude, of deep gratitude, I release these words of prayer into that one, into the love that is all, knowing that as I say these words, already it is true and so. Together we say, and so it is.
We know
you all for the ways that you consciously support the Columbus Center for Spiritual Living. We know that you do through your financial gifts. We know that you also do it through your prayer, through your time, through your commitments, through your service, through the ways that you show up for each other in community. And we thank you for all of these things. Your financial gifts help us to have this space to meet in, to have wonderful music, to have Robin helping coordinate things behind the scenes, so many things. We thank you for every way that you give. We do have our web link, we have text to give, there's still old school cash around, I think, somewhere. There's so many ways. So we thank you for all of your gifts. And we do also have out the little cards on the table, knowing that people give in lots of different ways. We welcome you just to hold one of those cards to your heart and know that as the basket comes around, you can drop that card in there, knowing that we all give in many wonderful ways. So say with me now our affirmation. My gift goes forth to heal and bless and prosper. It does its good and perfect work and returns to me multiplied abundantly. And so it is.
And as we witness the circulation, sing along to I Am Prosperous.
Unending goodness. It is all knowing, all giving, all providing, all loving. And I am so grateful for this knowing and so grateful for this time together this morning, for the message that was shared, the music, this community. And as I take all of this in and this experience of abundance of spirit, I know that the gifts that were given today were given in love. I bless the gifts. I bless the givers, knowing that unlimited abundance and prosperity is what is. And together we sing. And so it is, and so we let it be. And so it is, and so we let it be.
I'd like to thank you all for being here today. It's been wonderful to have you all here in community and to see your beautiful faces out there as I was gabbing away. So thank you all for being here. I'd like to thank Kristen Wilcock for leading us in meditation today and serving on platform. A thank you to Tony Bernardi for playing on keyboard. Tony Miller for leading us in our songs today. Thank you to Robin for live streaming us on Facebook and for doing the slides. Thank you to all the volunteers who helped set up and for everyone who brought food today for potluck. And thank you all. We do have welcome packets if any of you want a welcome packet to learn a little bit more about our community, if you want to take one to a friend to share, and if you're watching online, we can certainly mail one to you, so just drop us a message on the Facebook link or give us a call. So thank you, thank you, thank you. Kristen's going to wrap us up here with just a few announcements, and then we're going to eat some lunch.
I know this is your favorite part of service. Everyone is invited to join us after service today for the community potluck. If you don't have a dish to share, you are welcome to give a love offering. We have classes that we will be offering starting this fall, so watch your upcoming e-newsletter for more information. Our own Sarah Awad will be facilitating a workshop next Sunday, July 30th, called Writing as a Spiritual Practice. So please register and pay using the link in your recent e-newsletter. And if you need assistance in registering, you can ask Robin Brookhouse via email or text. Carla Powell and Craig, I'm going to not say your name right. Help me out, Craig.
Craig is good.
Invite you to attend National Night Out on Tuesday, August 1st at their home. Dinner is from 4:30 to 5:45 p.m., so bring a chair and a dish to share. And after dinner, the event is from 6 to 9 p.m. There will be live music, chalk drawing for children, and a community meet and greet. Carla and Craig will supply water, meat, cowboy caviar, and BYOB. Love donation to CCSL. You can contact Robin at spirituallivingcolumbus.org for the location and more information. If you would like prayer after service or any time throughout the week, you can find our prayer practitioners on our website, columbuscsl.org, or you can submit a prayer request on our Facebook page, and our practitioners are also available today after service to pray with you. If you could now please say our blessing with me. There is only one life. That life is God's life. That life is perfect. That life is my life now. And so it is. And let's all stand for our closing song.